With the NBA about to enter the official offseason, we should once again see plenty of big names on the move. 2020 won't feature a lot of star free agents, with the biggest names, Anthony Davis and Brandon Ingram, almost certainly staying put. Though the trade market could heat up due to a relatively weak draft class. Signing trades could also pop up more than in past years, especially if the salary cap doesn't increase due to the revenue loss from the league's hiatus. Whether it's due to the direction of a franchise, unhappiness with a role or staff, or a simple need for a change of scenery, these are the league's best players most likely to switch teams this offseason. First off, let's talk about the honorable mention. The first person on that list is Joel Embiid. Now, I'm going to be quick here, but this is a rumor that even before the crash and burn against the Celtics, there was a lot of questions about if Embiid and Ben Simmons could mesh together on that 76ers team for title contention. A non-shooting point guard and a center, type of old school center who can't shoot the three, but who dominates the paint. Can the spacing ever work like that? Now, those questions were put on hold as they were literally bounces away from the Eastern Conference Finals. Or no, from the NBA Finals. They were literally bounces away. But they came back in full force with the sweeping against the Celtics. Now, I do not see this move happening at all, especially with the new head coach. Maybe all that was needed was a change of staff. Maybe this head coach, who is renowned, even though I think he's overrated, he's renowned from all over the league. Maybe can talk some sense. Maybe he can right the ship. I think they give it at least one more year to see how it goes. And then in the future, Joel Embiid could well be on the trading block. The next person will be Damian Lillard. Hometown hero, hometown guy. He's been sweating it in Portland for years now, and to no avail. Now, he has had amazing moments, but there hasn't been a title contending team around him. Every year it's something, whether it be death, whether this year it was a lack of wings. I think the person they put on LeBron James in the first round matchup was Gary Trent. Now, he's a very young player. He's a very fine player, tons of potential, all that. But that is not a title contending roster. Now, there is a lot of talks that if Damian Lillard wants to win one, that his ability deserves an NBA ring, he might have to look elsewhere. I don't see that happening either, at least this year. We have Buddy Hield. And the relationship between Buddy Hield and the Sacramento Kings got muddy, to say the least, during last year's contract negotiations, and only gotten worse when he was benched by head coach Luke Walton during the season. While the relationship certainly has plenty of time to heal before the next season, it may be best for both parties to pursue a trade. Hield is someone who would bring back significant return for the team. The 27-year-old is one of the NBA's best perimeter shooters and is on a pretty reasonable 4-year, $88 million deal that could grow to $100 million with incentives. But the deal is front-loaded. It will start at a pretty expensive $24.4 million next season, but it will drop to just $18.5 million in 2023. The perfect fit for him would probably be on teams like the 76ers, Lakers, and Nets, who will all be vying for his talents. And next up, we have Jrue Holiday, man. This is personally one of my favorite players. Jrue Holiday can be the missing piece to a lot of teams' problems. He can play on the ball and off the ball as well. He's one of the most criminally underrated players in the whole NBA. He can score on all three levers and he can facilitate. Jrue Holiday is also one of the best defenders regardless of positions and can lock down the opposing team's best player. While the Pelicans don't necessarily need Jrue Holiday, they may end up valuing the leadership and experience locker room presence. But if they plan on locking up Brandon Ingram long term, they might need to think about shipping Holiday this offseason. There's no way they can do both, especially since Holiday becomes extension eligible this summer. This will force the team to make some difficult decisions. but it seems more likely that Holiday's time in New Orleans is coming to an end, and the Pelicans will not let him play out the year and walk for free. The question is, will the Pelicans be more inclined to trade him in the offseason or before the 2021 trade deadline? It makes more sense for them to trade Jrue before the season starts, because the longer you wait, the worse the offers could get. Now, the Nuggets already made a move for Jrue Holiday right before last year's trade deadline. The 76ers should also have heavy interest in a reunion with both Holiday and JJ Redick as side pieces to Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. The Mavericks, Bucks, Magic as well could all use shooting guard upgrades. Next we got Oladipo, and it's very interesting. Oladipo's very interesting because just 2 years ago Oladipo looked like a lifer in Indiana, but then again so did Paul George. He broke out into an all-star caliber season following a trade from Oklahoma City, and he led the NBA in steals. Devastating injury and a first-round sweep later, Oladipo is anything but guaranteed to return to the Pacers in free agency. At his best, Oladipo is probably the second or third best player on a championship team, able to drop over 20 points per game while playing lockdown defense on the other end. The Miami Heat, Milwaukee Bucks, and Dallas Mavericks should all be interested and offer attractive situations that could compel him to re-sign with them in free agency. The Pacers chose to trade Paul George going into the last year of his deal, getting Oladipo and fellow All-Star Sabonis in return. For a small market team that hasn't attracted many stars by free agency, moving Oladipo now for a healthy offer would be the best choice. Then we got Chris Paul. Without officially announcing it, the Oklahoma City Thunder are officially rebuilding, as evidenced by the mutual parting with former head coach Billy Donovan, while OKC went 44-28 and grabbed the 5th seed in the loaded Western Conference. An aging Chris Paul and a treasure chest of first-round picks mean the Thunder are likely to need to take a small step back before they can truly become a title contender. He posted a message thanking the team on Twitter, and he sounded like someone who knows a trade is coming. His contract is still brutal at $85.6 million over the next 2 years, but his all-star play and leadership this season should convince a title-chasing team in search of a point guard upgrade to make a deal for him. The Milwaukee Bucks, 76ers, and even the Chicago Bulls, who could reunite him with Donovan, would all make sense, assuming they aren't prioritizing cap space in 2021. The Thunder don't need draft picks and should be looking for expiring contracts to clear up the $44.2 million in cap space. They should go star hunting in free agency next season. Any young talent they can get back to pair with SGA would be great as well. Paul and the Thunder had a very memorable year together and should part on great terms. Now, like Victor Oladipo, Miles Turner's time with the Pacers could be coming to an end. Sabonis missed the first round series against the Heat while the 24-year-old center still has 3 years and $54 million remaining on his deal. His numbers were down all year until he played without Sabonis in the postseason. The Pacers should see what they can get for Turner, especially since Sabonis can take over as the team's starting center. Turner has already led the NBA in block shots. He's on a good contract and he can play in the modern game with his floor spacing. The Houston Rockets should abandon microball and seriously look at Turner. The Mavericks and Celtics should all be calling about him vigorously. They all need big men. And that wraps up this video. If you like this video, comment down below, like this video, tell me what you want me to make next. And until next time, stay safe.